going on, guys? It's Byron, not Brian, and in today's video I'm going to show you my license plate collection. Now this isn't just any collection. I have all 211 logos that are available to the general public in the state of Ohio on the new Sunrise in Ohio license plate. And as far as I know, I'm the only person in the entire world that has all 211 of them, and I'm going to take you through. I'm going to show you all of them. I'm going to tell you some interesting tidbits and facts about Ohio license plates, and nerd out with me for the next 10 minutes or so as I show you my collection. So I'm going to start at my favorite part of the collection, which is the lowest numbers and letters, the single digit alphabet and then the single numbers, starting with the D. So the D up here is on the previous issue, standard issue Ohio license plate. That's probably my favorite designed plate. I call it the envelope plate, kind of looks like an envelope. But that's my favorite design I think that Ohio's ever had. The Columbus College of Art and Design students came up with that plate, and it's got all kinds of cool facts about Ohio in it. So if you look closely, birthplace of aviation, presidents that all came from here, the inventors, Hall of Fame, all kinds of cool stuff. That is my favorite. Now the H underneath it, that is the new plate design that came out in December of 2021. It's called Sunrise in Ohio that Governor Dwine came up with. Personally, I hate it. It has nothing distinctive about Ohio. So as far as I'm concerned, every state has a sunrise, every state's got a tree, every state's got, agriculture, river, cities. There's nothing about this other than the Wright brothers plane. And there's a whole story about that I'll get into in a little bit about that plane right there carrying the banner. Now below that H, the regular base H on the Sunrise in Ohio plate, we get the Ohio Concerns of Police Survivors plate. Now this is the first logo in the collection. And you can see the big difference between the H on the top and H on the bottom. When you get a logo, any logo, it omits the Sunrise in Ohio background. So all that crappy, the wheat field and the river, and that's all gone. And then, so it's a much cleaner plate with just a logo. You get the Wright brothers plane and with the banner, the state of Ohio, and then the logo. So H, support our troops. This H Dolly Parton one is a relatively new plate that just came out. This is a unique plate in the state of Ohio in terms of logos because as you can see, Dolly's, her image goes all the way down to the bottom of the plate, a full bleed, as opposed to all the other logos in the state are just like a clip art off to the left. So that's a full bleed. It's the only plate like that, which is pretty cool. H, NASA, H, Ohio beer, drink beer made here, the letter Z. State Highway Patrol, letter Z. National Pancreatic Cancer Foundation. The number 4, 4 with Ohio Highway Patrol supporter. The number 5, FOP plate, that's on the old base. Come up to the top here, we got the FOP on the new base. So at one point I had all the logos about 6 months ago, I'd say, but it was a mix of the old base and the new base. So now I have every single logo that Ohio offers all on the new base, on the Sunrise in Ohio. Then we have the 26 Smokey Bear, 26 Buckeyes with Brutus, 31. So this is the start of plates that belong to me. I have 9 vehicles, all with low digits, low numbers. 31 is my lowest that I personally own. It's on my truck parked outside. So you're gonna see a lot of 31s coming up here with different logos. State Parks, Central Ohio Energy, the Cavs, the Reds, Ronald McDonald House. Got some Great Lake, Lake Erie plates, Erie or Great Lake with the 3 different logos for that. Now, Ohio offers 179 organizational logos, and then 32, that makes 211, 32 collegiate license plates. Now, these are all available to the general public, so anybody can go and say, hey, I want a Brutus Buckeye plate. I want a Script Ohio plate. I want a Tibittle, best damn band in the land. The Ohio State logo, Blocko, and the athletic logo. And each organization is allowed to charge whatever they want, from $10 additional all the way up to $50 additional. So when I order these 31s, I have to pay whatever the organization wants. So it adds up pretty quick, especially since Ohio State alone has 5 different license plates. Most of the other colleges in Ohio, if they have a plate at all, they'll have just one. There are a few that have two logos. I'll show you some of those here in a minute. Usually it's like Ohio State here with the one logo is athletics and the other logo is for academics. Now, some of these logos, I wonder how they get through. We have Playhouse Square, home of the National Aviation Hall of Fame, honoring fallen line workers. Here's a good example of that. Fallen Timbers Battlefield, which happened in 1794. To get a logoed plate, an organizational plate or special interest plate, I think is they're technically called, you have to get 150 signatures of people saying that they will get the plate. They don't have to get the plate. They just say, hey, yeah, I'll get it. Wink, wink, nod, nod. And then once that those 150 signatures are gathered, then they are passed on to a state legislature, who has to push it through and make it into law. So somebody somewhere got 150 signatures for that Fallen Timbers Battlefield one, which blows my mind. I will say that I think they have to maintain a certain amount of sales over a certain amount of time. Otherwise, the plate eventually will get discontinued if not enough of them are sold. Now this Honor Our Fallen, I don't know if you can catch it on camera, but the top one, when it came in the mail, it looks almost green, and I knew it was supposed to be black. So that is a misprint, so I said it was damaged. I ordered a second set, and you can see below, hopefully on camera, that it is in fact supposed to be black. So that's kind of a misprint as far as I'm concerned, which is kind of cool. Medina County history, juvenile diabetes plate. Up here at the top, we got a couple of Boy Scouts, Eagle Scouts. This one surprises me that just anybody can go get an Eagle Scout plate. You don't have to prove that you're an Eagle Scout, in Ohio anyway, to get that plate. Some of these plates you have to prove in order to get. So like military plates, you have to show your DD-214. The realtor plate, you have to show that you're a realtor to get it. There's some sororities and fraternities. Some of the FOP plates you have to prove in order to get, and you'll see some of these in the collection. They are plates that I got from other collectors who were able to prove that they were, a realtor in whatever military branch. This Keep Ohio Beautiful one right here, this just came out not too long ago, and it is the crappiest looking plate. Like, if you're gonna get 150 signatures and pass, get it passed into law to get a license plate, why would you use such a crappy logo? It's like the clip art of all clip arts. It's so terrible, so terrible. Anyway, Massillon Tigers, and then that suicide prevention one, that's relatively new as well. Up here at the top of the next row, we got a couple more brand new ones. The Weirdo Cat Lovers of Cleveland, I love that plate. And this one, the BART, respiratory therapist, that literally just came out. That was the last plate that I needed to complete my collection. So that was released, I think, a week and a half ago, just showed up in the mail. That's the thing with saying that I'm done. I'm never done. It will be probably next week, and Ohio will drop. I'll check their Facebook page, and they'll issue another logo or two or three. But for the moment, right now, I have every single logo the state of Ohio offers to the general public. So now we're moving on logos or numbers to numbers that I don't have, but other collectors also do the same thing that I do. And so, I trade with them and we kind of build our collections together. So you'll see some numbers in here like this 58 and this 62 that belong to other collectors. Now, before I move on to another part of my garage, I'm going to kind of just show you another string of plates that I collect, which are samples, particularly Ohio samples. These are plates that the state would display like at a BMV, like a deputy registrar, and say, hey, this is what the plate looks like this year. Ohio used to issue plates individually each year up until 1975. And then they went to stickers, and plates were good for generally 5 years apiece. Now, each one of those plates, when they were year by year, the 69, 8, 7, 5, so on and so forth, those were colors of state colleges. Like the Ohio State University, scarlet and gray. I think the green one up there is OU, green and white. So that's pretty cool. Now, before I hop back over to the 62s, I'm going to show you some motorcycle plates. Here's some 3-digit motorcycle plates. These two right here, the Hudson City Schools and Gilmore Academy, are no longer offered on motorcycle plates in terms of logos. I don't even know why they offered them to begin with. I do believe that the POW and breast cancer are still issued. 271 was on my motorcycle, which now has 65. So there's some more 271s. All right, moving over to the 62s. There's the new base, Sunrise in Ohio. You're gonna see a lot of duplicates, some Maslin Tigers, State Highway Patrol. Like, my goal was to replace all of this base with the new logo, but I still am displaying the previous logo just because it's cool. And I'm a nerd. Here's a great example of that, the Folds of Honor plate on the previous base versus the new base. Now on the previous base, it's worth noting that half of the text is still on the plate. So on the right-hand side, things about Ohio, Ohio River, first professional baseball team, innovators, and so forth are there. But on the left, it kind of goes away and you just see the logo, which is pretty neat. Guardians plate, moving on, 65. This is a number that I have now. It's on my motorcycle. It's one of my 9. The guy that had it previously got a different number and let it go, so I was able to snag it up. But he also got a bunch of logos on it, NRA, Honeybee. Moving on to the new base. This one's pretty rare here, the Korea on the new base. Zoos, again, State Highway Patrol. We love our Buckeyes plates. Got some 160s here. These are some older plates. I also have the 160 now. That is on my 1996 Ford Probe that has historical plates, believe it or not. But the guy that had this in the early 2000s also did the same thing. And I have some of his collection here. So disabled vet motorcycle, that's pretty cool. Same thing down there on the beautiful Ohio base. And then some historical plates. Now, before we get back into the logos on the passenger cars, there's a couple plates I want to point out here. This motorcycle one at the top makes me laugh. That's back in the day. You can see it's got a 2000 expiration date. Back in the day, to text, you had to, hit 3 for F and 8 for U and 2 for C, 5 for K, and 8 for U. That was pretty clever. Got past the sensors there. Now, earlier I had mentioned that Dwine, Mike Dwine, the governor of Ohio, in 2021 unveiled the new license plate design. And he had a big press conference, and it was immediately noted by people watching the press conference online that there was something drastically wrong with his new plate design. If you look at this plate right here, you can see that the Wright Brothers plane right there is pulling a banner. But when Dwine unveiled the plane was backwards. So it looks like that little bit there at the end of the plane should be the rear, but it's actually the front. And so people online called him out. It was a huge embarrassment for Dwine. He had 35,000 plates issued that were ready to go. They hadn't been shipped yet, and they were all destroyed, supposedly, because I have one right here. This is one that fell through the cracks. I don't know the story, and if I do, I wouldn't admit to it on how it ended up here on my wall in my garage, but that is a coveted Holy Grail backwards plane plate. As you can see, compared between the two, it's why I have them here, so you can kind of get the glare to go away. You can see a difference in the plane there. Pretty cool, and probably my favorite plate in my collection. All right, moving back to the plates with numbers and logos. So this is up top. I kind of stretch towards the ceiling in my garage there, but I'm going to do both of these rows simultaneously so you can kind of see the different logos. So here's an example. Army vet plate on the 78. That's one that you would have to show a DD-214 to get. You just can't walk in and get any military plate. You have to prove that you were in that branch or that conflict or whatever it may be. So there's 86 In God We Trust on the old and the new, back to back. The last of the double digits. Now we're moving on to triple digits, 102, 103. 123, so that plate belongs to me as well. 123 is on my wife's car. The funny thing about this 123 plate is I've actually received a bunch of tickets that don't belong to me. Lazy meter maids have said, the car didn't have a plate, and so instead of putting nothing in there, they just put 123 as a placeholder, and so of course then I get the ticket, and I've got to fight it and say, hey, that wasn't us. We were never in whatever city or jurisdiction you said we were. So while I love the number 123, it's really cool. That's kind of a side effect of that plate, but it is what it is. Oh, and I should point out, so here's an example of Toledo. So there's University of Toledo there, and then down at the bottom, there's a second University of Toledo. So they're an example of a college with two. There's that Gilmore Academy that I pointed out on the motorcycle plate earlier. This Bully Free Car logo, I think, was designed by a 12 or a 13-year-old. So that's pretty cool. Superman. Dublin City School plate, that's the school system that my children attend, my wife works in. And that plate was pushed through by my neighbor, actually, who was a social studies teacher at Dublin City Schools, and was a project for him and his kids to get that plate issued. Now, like 90% of the plates that you see here, the new logos on the Sunrise in Ohio, I paid for myself. The rest were trades with collectors and whatnot. And the problem that I have sometimes with some of these is like this Case Western Reserve. That one just came out, State of Ohio said, look, we've got a new plate. But really the only difference between this one and the old Case plate is that Sunrise there on the left was sideways on the old plate. So now I have to fork out another, I think, $40 to get the updated logo. And that happens actually fairly frequently. There's a bunch here that I've had to pay twice because they changed the logo. 125, this is also one of my plates. This is on my utility trailer. But in Ohio, you can get logos on trailer plates. So I do. It helps to have 9 vehicles to be able to get logos on. Last 125 plate. That one's not in such great shape, but it's a low number, so I'll put it up here. This 137 Buick, that's from the late 90s, early 2000s. That's pretty cool because that's a one-off plate. The Ohio issues special logos for, used to be for that Buick World Series of Golf tournament. As far as I'm aware, the only other one now that they do it for is the Memorial Tournament, which is actually right down the street from my house. So it's pretty cool to see those memorial plates once a year on the cars that the golfers are driving. I don't have one in my collection. I would love one, don't have one. That's what, this one here is one of my favorites. Bottoms Up Diaper Bank. Yeah, they got that pushed through. And leader in flight. I should also mention that 153 is also one of my numbers. This is on one of my commercial vehicles. I own a business. And that's what makes this one unique in that it says truck at the bottom. So to get a personalized plate on a commercial vehicle, you have to have a logo. And I think there's only 5 that you can get. The Beef logo, the FFA plates, there's a few other, Ohio Natural Energy. So in order for me to have my 153 on my, it's a Transit, to have it on my Transit, I had to get truck plates and I had to get a logo to be able to get that 153. Otherwise, it'll give you standard issue plates. So that's a unique one right there. Now this 157, this was my first low numbered plate that I ever got back in 2000, I want to say 2003, 2004. I went to the Middle East to go teach in 2006 and I let it expire and somebody else snagged it up. And I was really sad because that was my OG plate. It was my first low number plate and it wasn't available anymore. But last year I was able to, or I guess earlier this year rather, I was able to find that it was available. So whoever had it for 20 years, they let it go, and so I was able to snag it back up. So 157 is on one of my vehicles now. So there was a 20-year hiatus between that top plate, which was on one of my cars, to this 157 that is now, again, on one of my cars. So I will never, ever, ever let this number go. It was my first one. I lost it for 20 years, and now it's back. And so back then, 20 years ago, yeah, 2004, you can see the stickers. I was doing the same thing that I'm doing now. I was getting different logos, and there weren't quite as many back then. Seems like in the last I don't know, 6, 7 years, Ohio's gone just crazy on releasing new logos. Now here we go, having to zoom back in because I'm running out of space in my garage for plates. My wife won't let them in the house. I kind of have to get creative with where I put them. So I am fully arms outstretched to be able to try to film this. But here's some more of the 157s, Knights of Columbus. There are a lot of high schools in here. This CH Huskies, I have no idea where it is. You're gonna see a lot of those. University of Findlay, yeah. Wilmington College, Wittenberg, Freemason, National Council of Negro Women. That's a pretty cool plate. Here's another Erie one with a kayaker. I grew up on Lake Erie and Ashtabula, and that's not, you don't want to go kayaking with white caps. Clippers, that is our minor league team, AAA for the Guardians. It is the only minor league plate that Ohio offers. I don't know how many states offer minor league plates, but I've not seen very many. Sons of the American Revolution, that mental health awareness plate, pretty much brand new in the last month. Here's some older 160s. That same guy that had those motorcycle 160s that I showed you earlier. That's pretty cool with that Persian Gulf in the World War II. I don't know how he got those, but they're mine now. Moving down, there's some samples of motorcycle plates. Those are pretty neat. A traffic light here. Come on down. We got some more 160s, so that Marine Corps League. Now, the 160 with the historical plates, that's on my Ford Probe outside that I was telling you about. I can't get logos on a historical plate, so really when I say I have 9 numbers, I only have 8 that I can get logos on because that 160 is just kind of dead in terms of getting numbers now, or logos. But the cool thing about historical plates that you'll see with this one that you won't see with very many other historical plates in Ohio is with a historical vehicle, it has to be 25 years or older to get the plate, and then you pay 1 fee and that's it, because it's a limited use vehicle. You can only take it to like car shows and parades and stuff. If you get a personalized number on it, so in this case I have 160, then you have to pay every year to keep that 160, the 10 or 15 bucks, whatever the number cost me, which is why there's an expiration sticker on that plate of 1223, because I have to renew that every year. I don't have to pay for the historical plate itself, but I have to pay to keep the 160. Now 161, also one of my numbers that is on my RV outside, which is why I kind of went with the animal themes on that one for a while. The frogs, wetlands, support wildlife, the ducks, monarch, keeping monarch in flight, some wild Ohio Bird Sanctuary, Ottawa National Wildlife Refuge, Rescue Saves Lives. And then I ran out of animal themed plates to get, so choose life. Oh, we gotta go up top here. Excuse my garage door frame. The other choose life. Healthy New Albany, that's one that I'm surprised went through. The Shriners one is relatively new in the last year. I'm surprised that hadn't been out before. Same thing with that Mason plate. Youngstown. There's 2 Youngstown ones, the Penguin and the Y. I'm not sure which one's athletics and which one is academic, but there's an example of a school with 2. Pro Football Hall of Fame, pretty cool place. Go check it out if you've never been. Ohio has a couple of colleges that are not in Ohio that you can get logos for. So Notre Dame's one of them. I believe I went back by the Alabama one already, but there's Notre Dame and Alabama. Special Olympics. High school plate. And this 164 is the last number that belongs to me. It's my highest number of the 9, 164. High school plates. This West Tech alumni is notable because I don't believe the school exists anymore. So that's why it's an alumni plate, because you can't currently attend it. Anybody that's went to West Tech is an alumni. Lions. Come on down here. Here's another double athletic one, an academic logo. University of Akron has 2, the seal and the A. Bengals. High school. Oh, here's the Ohio beef one that I was talking about that I had earlier with the truck at the bottom. This is what it looks like without truck when it's on a regular passenger car, not a non-commercial one. Now, 166 was the number that I had on my motorcycle until 65 came available. So there's my 65. I have every single logo that Ohio offers on motorcycle plates as well. So there's a couple horse plates, the union member, dogs, cats. So between these and the 271s that I showed you earlier, I have all of the logos. Coming above the door here, some more 164s. Here's a great example, this St. Charles plate. That one just came out as well, also a new issue. It's a reissue. The one that I had before said it was a 100th year anniversary plate, so I had to pay again to get the St. Charles plate without the 100th year anniversary. Because, you know, it's like Pokemon, you gotta collect them all. Now, some of these other numbers have belonged to me over in the past years. 186, for example, was an old number of mine. 196, or 190 rather, that were coming on, and then 196. So what happens when I find a lower number than what I currently have, I let my highest number go and I get a lower number. So a lot of these were plates that were belonged to me that were on my vehicles at one point in time. So like I said, about 90% of these. Oh, here's that Case Western one behind my leaf blower with the sideways logo there with the sun. 190. Miami, there's a double one right there too. And this Ohio Northern, I'm going to cut up here to the garage door real quick. So down there, I happen to have that very plate, was the one registered to me with the Ohio Northern logo when the state of Ohio decided that they were going to change the logo to this one. And so therefore I didn't have to pay for the logo twice because I just said, hey, I want the new one. I already have the Ohio Northern on my car at the moment. Give me the new logo. And so I got it. I got lucky. Now moving on, 190. So I'm going to back out here real quick and show you what we're looking at. My garage door, I ran out of space on the walls, so I went to the garage door. So we are looking at my garage door. I came up with kind of a custom mount plate system here. The 196. So I've had this plate, like the 157, this was my second number I ever got. And this one, I was smart and I gave to my mom when I moved to the Middle East. And so I think I got this plate also 2004, 2005. And I had it for a very long time. So between my mom and I, so you can see the different bases. So you had the bicentennial base, and then you had that sunrise one, and then you have the beautiful Ohio 196. I come back up here, there's the envelope plate, and then the sunrise in Ohio. I let 196 go last year to get something lower, and it actually wasn't fun because that's an OG plate. Oops, excuse my fingers there. Now, when I was collecting logos originally, what I would do is I would let my kids pick one every year. So in this case, you could see a 2016 sticker there, a 2017 sticker. So we get a new logo every year, 2018, 2019, so on and so forth. So up here, the zoos, 2020. And then I realized that at that time, I only had 3 or 4 vehicles, but at that rate, getting a different logo a year was going to take me probably the rest of my life. I may never finish at that rate. So I started speeding it up. And so when I got one in the mail, then I would order a different logo. And so that expedited the process. It still took me 3.5 years on the new base since they were released to get all of the logos. But I have them, and that's how I did it. Circleville Pumpkin Show, Baseball for All, Dog Friendly, Organ Donor, Put in Bay, Celebrate Kids. Go up top here. Eastern Europeans of Ohio. I've seen one of those on the road, exactly one. So I know of 2, mine and the one that I saw on the road, which probably was a person that got pushed through. Doesn't seem like a very popular plate. Ohio Rabbit, House Rabbit Rescue, also odd plate, but I love it. Come on down here, some more 196s. And then we hop over to the 199s. Now 199 was also one of my numbers. I've since let go because I got something lower. But there's a whole bunch of 199s down here. Here is a unique set that I'm going to point out. So you can see the 199 Indians, and then down below it, the 199 Cleveland Guardians on the same base. Like I said, this was issued in 2021 when the base came out, and that Cleveland Indians was not around long. I think it was only maybe a month or so before they changed it over to the Guardians. So to find a Cleveland Indians on the Sunrise in Ohio base is near impossible. I only know it myself and one other person that has that, so that's pretty cool. Coming up top, some collegiate or high school stuff. And some of these, like this, this Chardon football state champs plate, 2020, 21. It's just wild to me that that's what they choose to put through. 203, 206. So here's 153 now is on my Transit, but 206 used to be on there. So hence the FFA, because like I said, you have to have a logo to get a personalized plate. And that puts truck at the bottom instead of Future Farmers of America. So that one's kind of unique. I'll hop down here. The rest of the 206s. Again, a lot of duplicate logos at this point that you've already seen. That 230 Realtor one, that's an example of a plate that you have to be a realtor in order to be able to get. So pretty cool. All right, above my garage door, since you've seen most of these logos already on lower numbers, I'm gonna go through this pretty quick. But 272 and 273, those are numbers that I had that have since been, again, replaced by a lower number. So you see a lot of those. Same thing with the 310. I had 310 for a very long time. You can see it on 1, 2, 3 different standard issue bases, and then with a bunch of logos. 666 was on my buddy's car in college, and he also got logos. So you got the Celebrate Kids on the 666, and then if you hop over here, it's the rest of them. The Smokey the Bear 666, the Cleveland Browns. So we thought that was pretty funny. He no longer has that plate, which is a shame. And yeah, that's it. So thanks for coming along with my tour. It was probably a lot more than 10 minutes now that I've filmed everything. But there you have it. If you have any questions about my plates, leave a comment below, and thanks for watching.